All right, entrepreneurs, small business owners, and side hustlers everywhere. Welcome to today's episode of the Seven Figures Club podcast. Today's guest is someone who's going to help you to communicate much more effectively. He's going to give you power. He's going to give you strategy, and he's going to help you leverage effective communication skills that you're going to be able to use to grow your business and make 2023 your impact and absolute breakthrough year. Now, our friend here is Brenden Kumarasamy, and he said once a wise friend told him that he couldn't possibly coach every human being on earth with the limited time he had in his life, so he needed to go on video to share his message with the world. And my friends, that is exactly what he has learned to do. He's mastered communication on video in all aspects of business and turning fear on its head so that you guys can dominate on YouTube. Because if you're not dominating in video in 2022 and going into 2023, like, this is a skill set that matters and one that is going to pay huge dividends. So Brenden, welcome to the podcast.
There are over 32 million businesses in the US, and over 90% of them will never break seven figures in annual sales. So how do we as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs break into that seven figures club? This podcast will relentlessly share the secrets, strategies, and tactics I've used to create 3 multi-seven figures businesses and bring in even more successful entrepreneurs than me to share their inspirational stories and tactics to success. You can create your dream business and life right now. So buckle up and let's go.
Leo, the pleasure is absolutely mine. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, we always like to kind of start at the beginning. What was it that led you in your life to dominate this topic? Why communication? And obviously it's so important, but what were some of the key events that led you to realize how important this is? And then, of course, the next step was then you decided, well, I'm going to launch this new company, this new movement called MasterTalk. So what led to the launching of MasterTalk and this topic in particular for you?
For sure, Leo. I always believe that there's two types of entrepreneurs. There's the born one and the made one. So the born entrepreneurs, a great example of that is like Mark Cuban or Gary Vaynerchuk. It's in their blood. That's what they want to do. And then the second type of entrepreneur is the made entrepreneur. I'm definitely category 2. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. That was never the goal. I actually wanted to be an executive at a company. So I went to business school to study accounting, of all things. And that was my goal. Work at PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the big 4 accounting firms, and live my life there. But then what happened is during my education, Leo, I competed in case competitions. Think of it like professional sports, but for nerds. So while the guys my age are playing basketball or football, I wasn't one of those guys. I did presentations competitively, and that's how I learned how to speak.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Very random. And I did it to get a job, essentially. I just fell in love with them. And then as I got older, I started coaching a lot of the students in college on how to speak so they could win competitions too. And that's what gave me the idea for the YouTube channel MasterTalk, because I felt that everything I was sharing with them wasn't available for free on the internet. And here we are a few years later.
So we got a lot of business owners on this podcast, and they're listening, they're working out, they're driving down the road to their next appointment, and they're wondering, all right, I know communication's important, et cetera, but why should I practice it? How can I really improve it? I mean, I speak the way I speak. Can I really improve that? Like, why does it matter to learn how to, communicate better and actually not just learn, but practice it?
For sure, Leo. So this is what I tell all my business owners, which is, as your business scales, are your communication skills scaling with the business? So what does that mean? Let's say you're a business owner doing 100K or less right now. Usually at that stage of the business, early 6 figures, you're doing every part of the value chain, from sales, marketing, delivery, ascension. But then as the business scales, let's say $500,000, 750 and above, you start to delegate a lot of the things that you used to do as an owner to people around you, to people that work with you in the business. But the question a lot of entrepreneurs don't ask themselves is, are your communication sharp at the 750 mark, at the $1 million mark? Because when you start to create SOPs, standard operating procedures, and you start to communicate the expectations back to your employees, if you don't know how to communicate well, you're creating a ton of inefficiencies within the business, where you hear a lot of employees going, what did you say? What did you say, Brenden? I didn't really get that. what am I not meeting the expectation? So there's that. So for me, the big punchline here, Leo, is we think a lot about our business goals as owners, but we don't think enough about our communication goals, which is, let's say we want to do $3 million this year and we're doing, I don't know, 1.2 or something. What we don't think about is the owner who's doing 3 million, what kind of communicator are they? And we don't analyze that delta.
It's so important. I mean, the way you communicate to your clients, strategic partners, to your employees, to your team, I mean, it says everything. It's like a great salesperson, right? That great salesperson has legitimately practiced that script and the rebuttals a million times, done it out loud, and the very average salesperson hasn't. So it makes sense. The more you practice, the better a communicator you're going to be. So what are some of those, specific things you can do to practice and improve your communication and your ability to get your message out?
Absolutely. So let's start with the structure first, which is communication is like juggling 18 balls at the same time, right? So one of those balls is exactly, right? Body language, storytelling, eye contact, vocal tone variety, facial expressions, and it can get really confusing really fast. So for me, the question has become, what are the 3 easiest balls to juggle? Because if we can figure that out, we can scale our communication skills. So what does that look like? Ball number 1 is the random word exercise. Pick a random word like light bulb, like ceiling, like home, like Utah, and create random presentations out of thin air. The reason this is effective is for 2 reasons. 1, because it helps you deal with uncertainty. Leo, life is filled with it. Like small talk, when you're having a conversation with a prospect, you have no idea how that conversation is going to go, what they're going to pull. So if you're good with uncertainty and you can talk about avocados, you can manage your business because you're selling the same products every single day of the week. That's one. The other piece that I teach my clients that people can write down is if you can make sense out of nonsense, you can make sense out of anything. That's ball 1. And then ball 2 is the question drill. We get asked questions all the time in our life. Most of us are reactive to them, not proactive. So instead, what you want to do is make a list of every possible question you think a prospect can ask you about your products or services, or even you as a guest on a podcast, your expertise, and answer just one question every day for 5 minutes. If you do that for a year, you'll have answered 365 questions about your business. You'll be bulletproof. And last tip, video message. Make a list of all your employees and send them all a 20-second gratitude video message saying how much you appreciate the hard work that they've done and wish them a happy holidays. That's way more valuable than a bottle of wine.
Oh, I love that. That is a great idea, and one that I'm going to look to implement here with my team in the next week or so. What a great idea. So a lot of people are listening here and they're realizing that everything is video, right? Doesn't matter which social media app it is. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like, video is key. What are some of the key concepts, strategies to be effective at communicating your message on a YouTube channel, on a Facebook Live, on an Instagram story? Like, what are some of those strategies that if you're a business owner and you want to command your message and you want to dominate it out there, what are some things you can do to be successful with video online, especially with apps like YouTube?
For sure, Leo. So a couple of points there. Let me start with the first one, which is the biggest missed opportunity for everyone listening to this is the following quote, which is, if you communicate 20% better than your competition, you'll stand out 100% of the time. Notice how I didn't say if you communicate 2,000% better. I said if you communicate 20% better. Let's go back to the 20%. Example. Right. Let's go back to the example you talked about, which is great. It's like, oh, Brenden, video messages, I've heard of that tip, but I've never thought of sending video messages to every single one of my employees, whether they're the janitor or the VP of the company. I should probably do that. But that's the point, Leo. Most people won't do that. Right. So even if the video is terrible, it's a lot better than what most people in the industry are doing, which is no video at all. So what does that translate back to business owners? I actually don't even recommend people start with social media. I recommend business owners start with the people that they're already famous to, their clients and their employees. Start by sending them video messages. And I practice what I preach, and don't even worry about whether they sound good. I bought a stupid $7 Santa hat last week from Amazon, put it on my head. I looked dumb, and I opened my video phone and I started sending video messages to my top 25, 50 accounts. And they all loved it. They didn't care what it sounded like. They just loved that they got a message from their favorite coach. And that's really the point.
It's like the customization. Everybody wants something custom in today's world. And so that little bit of custom that you provide to them, especially custom gratitude, like that's just so much more valuable than sometimes, like you said, the bottle of wine or that, really bougie gift that you could give them. I'm curious, what's kind of your long-term vision with MasterTalk?
For sure. I believe, Leo, the next Elon Musk is a 7-year-old girl who can't afford me. So for me, my mission is to empower every genius for society to become an exceptional communicator. So what does that look like financially to help me get there? It just so happens that CEOs and executives want my help, and that's the easiest way to monetize that. So I grow my coaching business and my education business so that I use a lot of the funding to write the big checks that I do for my MasterTalk YouTube channel. But eventually the goal in my long name is to be the next Dale Carnegie, in the same way that Dale didn't really have the opportunity to be on video or share messages on a podcast. I'm grateful I get the opportunity to stand from his wisdom and his expertise and bring that to the world while I'm still alive.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And, you're mentioning some important things there. We've got a lot of the audience that wants to learn to work with business owners and executives or form relationships with strategic partners. What are some tips where the way you communicate with marketing and building relationships, what are some of the effective strategies you're seeing, as we go into 2023 to build those relationships and reach out with, your dream clients or your dream strategic referral partner? What are tactics that you're seeing that are working right now in terms of reaching out, and what does that communication look like? Is it email? Is it a custom video? Like what's something that is unique that's working right now?
For sure. So I'll separate this based on service-based and product. I'm a lot better at service, but I'll give some for product as
Perfect.
well. So service-based business owners is really simple. It's a strategy I teach called QIT. Questions, insights, titles. So questions just means make a list of the top 25 questions you get asked the most about your area of expertise. And you want to field these questions very specifically from your favorite clients. So what you do is, let's say you got a list of 100 service-based clients, go to just your top 10. The people you adore, the people who don't discount you, the people who want to pay you more, the people who are always there for you, the people who treat you really well, who buy you dinner when you're in their town, like those people. Get their questions first. So that's questions. So one question I get a lot from my clients is, how do you present in a second language? That's just an example. Now let's move to I. I means that you create the perfect answer to that question and you give it away for free. This is the mantra that's one of my coaches taught me that I always love to share. Information should always be free because it's a commodity, but implementation is the fee. So that means for me, I want to be the most generous communication coach on earth. So I don't hide like the video tip that I teach my CEOs. I give it away. Like everyone should do it. But if you want somebody to hit you on the head to do the tip, then you hire somebody. But then the key is give the perfect answer, book 45 minutes in your schedule to write out the perfect answer. And then T just means title the video in a way that people want to click it. So QIT works really well. What we do in the business is we send specific YouTube videos to ideal prospects. We give them value up front, and then we close in the back end. For product base, I would say what works the best that nobody does in e-com specifically is they don't sort their customers by gross contract value, like what is the amount that they've made from each customer, and sending video messages to their top 50, because they always make excuses that they have too much purchasing orders, so they don't do video messages at all. Massive opportunity there.
Big opportunity. And the title thing is huge. Like if you don't have a great headline or a great title to the video, to whatever you're sending out, like people they're not going to watch it. They're not going to take the time. And so that's a big insight there. I mean, questions, insights, but the title, the headline that you're going with is extremely important. Hopefully it's arousing some curiosity and, really making people curious to find out what it is you're saying. And huge there, your favorite clients, they're going to give you great questions. And those are the questions that your prospects are going to need answered. So a lot of people right now, they're on the treadmill, they're driving down the road, and they're learning a lot about the importance of communication, how to dominate on video, how to reach out to your top clients, custom videos to communicate with your employees, team, strategic partners, et cetera, et cetera. What's the next step? In this podcast, we don't want it to be a passive podcast. We want it to be a podcast for action takers, and Seven Figures Nation is a group of action takers. So what's the action they should be taking right now to take the next step, to learn how to communicate better, to take the next step to improve their communication in 2023? What's the step that you can give them right now? Maybe there's a book or something with MasterTalk that they can take. What's the next step?
And I'm glad you fielded this question, Leo. Forget about the books. So many people ask me about books, and I always go, okay, if you write a book every week for 60 minutes, let's say that's all they have time for. It's like, why don't you just do the random word exercise 60 times? So what's the next step? The next step is to understand that the best way to speak is to speak. And the biggest mistake that everyone's making on their treadmill right now, Leo, is they're listening to the random word exercise. They're listening to the question drill, the video message. They're going, wow, Leo, you brought this really nice coach here on communication. He's sharing all these tips. But the problem is no one's doing it. So book 15 minutes in your calendar every morning to do all 3 of these exercises. 5 minutes for the random word. Pick 5 words: trophy, brick, ceiling. You're done in 5 minutes. Question drill. Pick a question from a list of 25 that your clients gave you last month. Pluck one, answer one every day for 5 minutes. That's 10. And then the last 5, pick 5 employees in your business. Send them 5-minute gratitude videos. Excuse me, not 5-minute, 20-second gratitude videos. And if you do that every day for a month, you'll hit all the employees eventually, and just do that consistently. As Alex Hormozy says, it's not about doing the extraordinary thing, but rather the ordinary thing for an extraordinary long period of time.
Well said. And yeah, big fan of Alex and everything he's teaching entrepreneurs right now. Well, Brenden, we really appreciate you being a guest. Where can the audience connect with you?
For sure, Leo. This is super fun. Thanks for having me. So 2 easy ways to keep in touch. The first one is definitely the YouTube channel. Just go to MasterTalk in one word. You'll have access to hundreds of free videos on how to speak. And the second way to keep in touch is to attend one of my free communication workshops that I run over Zoom that are absolutely free. So if you want to jump in on that, go to rockstarcommunicator.com.
Perfect, guys. MasterTalk is the YouTube channel. It's an amazing channel. Tens of thousands of subscribers on this channel. And he's got some amazing stuff. He's got public speaking tips. He's got communication tips. He's got different, strategies and things that you can practice on a daily basis. And I think if the one thing I'm taking away from this episode with Brenden is it's in the practice, right? The expertise, the mastering and honing in on your craft communications. Like any other skill, the more you practice it, the better you get. And especially with the key questions and the key answers that you're asked every single day, the more you practice those, the more they're going to come out smoothly, and the more you're going to be 20% better. And as Brenden just told us, 20% better can lead to absolute domination in your space. Well, Brenden, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast and for dropping so many value bombs. The audience will be taking action, guys. Again, go to the MasterTalk YouTube channel. It is an amazing channel. I've already gone through several of the videos myself. And make sure you guys are taking action so that you can join the 7 Figures Club, because only 5% of business owners get there. And by mastering these communication skills, your odds just went up 20%.
Are you looking for more 7-figure secrets, content, or even how you can launch your own recession-proof business? Then check out 7figures.com. That's the digit 7, FIGURES.com, where we share more videos, stories, strategies, funding solutions, entrepreneurial education, and even the secret business type that's recession-proof. Thank you for listening, and if you're finding value in our podcast, please give us a 5-star and invite others to join the club.